Hi there, my name is Niklas and this is a video about the package Dtache for Emacs that I developed. And I have just recently pushed the version 0.2 of this package, and I thought I would do a video about the changes that this version introduces, as well as covering some more of the use cases that we didn't see in the last video. But first, let's just recap what Dtache is. So Dtache or Dtache Emacs, that is a package to run shell commands completely detached from Emacs itself. And with shell commands, we refer to commands that otherwise would be run in a terminal. The detachable nature of the package means that the commands started with it can outlive Emacs, which also works on remote hosts, essentially offering a lightweight alternative to Tmax or GNU Screen. The user can effectively use Dtache as a go-to command for running build or test commands, which works well with Dtache's automatic status labeling functionality. The core concept of Dtache is its object, the Dtache session. This object encapsulates information about the session, such as the command which is run in the session, the working directory from which the session is started, the host on which the session is run, where the output of the session is stored, where the socket to the underlying Dtache process resides, etc. The program Dtache is what makes this package possible. It takes care of running the commands, and Dtache instructs what and how it should run it. So version 0.2 then. There's been some improvement to the Dtache env, and the Dtache env, it's a shell script which is now provided in the repository. The point of this script is to make sure that the exit status of the shell command is captured and forwarded to the session's output. And essentially the script looks like this, so it's nothing fancy. It does what it said here, but the important part is that this functionality is now an opt-in, so users are advised to configure the Dtache env variable to point to the location of the script. So if I would check the value of this one, for example, it's currently nil because I haven't set it to something. And to illustrate what effect this has, if I start a session running a command that doesn't exist, I got this Dtache finished up here, but it didn't say anything more. It wasn't able to label it. The status is considered unknown. But if I set this part and rerun, you see I got this Dtache failed. And from a user's perspective, in this former command, we get this automatic compilation, but in the latter command. In the former command, there was no detection, but we never see this part, which is actually outputted to the log. Also, another thing to mention is that there is now proper support for macOS. It was revealed that Dtache doesn't work as intended on macOS, and this is due to an issue originating from the file notify library. And until that issue has been addressed, users are advised to use the following configuration. And basically, you have an advice here to exchange the end of a session notification to use this part instead. So instead of relying on file notify, we will rely on an idle timer that will continuously check for if the session has transitioned from an active state to an inactive state. There's also been some changes to the user interface. I've gotten some valuable feedback from Daniel Mendler, the co-author of Marginalia, about how to loosen the dependency that the package had towards Marginalia and also Embark. And the result of this is that the following packages has been removed from the project. So the Embark Dtache and Marginalia Dtache are now gone. This also resulted in the deprecation of the Dtache list sessions command, and users are instead advised to use the Dtache open session. And the reason for this is that Dtache now features its own annotations when listing sessions using Dtache open session. Previously that was only a functionality that was offered to users of Marginalia, but that is not the case anymore. So the default configuration for the annotations are as following. It now becomes easier for users to customize the way it looks. So this is the default, and let's see this open session. Yeah, it looks like this. We got the annotations, but it seems a bit off. This is because I'm using a very large font now, so we will see in a bit how to change it then. So use cases. Well, with the deprecation of the Dtache list sessions, what is the workflow to run actions on a session? So instead, the users are advised to bind the Dtache action map to a key binding of their choice. So if I evaluate this part in Ctrl+C+D, I'll see the different actions that I can run on a session. Now I don't. Yeah, we have 2 sessions. Okay, so let's try it. Let's copy the session command, and we copy from this one, first one, so we can paste it here. So that's how you use it. And for those users who do use Embark, the way to integrate Dtache with Embark is to add the following to the configuration. So if you add this part, I'll evaluate it. Now when I open a session, I should probably enable key bindings there. And then we have these actions available through Embark instead. So that's how you do that. And as I said, it's now become easier to tweak the way the annotations works. So for example, I will run this command to change the size of the command length. So now we're almost, we're basically there, but we can run this part which tweaks the width a bit and removes the size. So now it looks like this. And one additional thing that's been added is this identifier here. So for commands which share the same command part, there is an identifier to distinguish them. And one thing we didn't touch that much upon last time was the shell integration. So the package adds support for integration with MetaX shell. That is done through the package Dtache shell, which is provided in the repository. And basically it also adds a minor mode where you can add bindings for how to create a session or attach to a session. So in my case, that's done with shift return or control return. And if we want to demo this, I'll copy this command, and and go to my shell. So I will press Shift Enter to run it. And we can see it ran Dtache shell create session. So now I can call the Dtache shell Dtache. And we're now detached from it. We can list, open up the sessions here and see that it's indeed running. And if you run Dtache shell attach, you're only prompted with the active session. And we can reattach. And that works. We can also log on into remote host. So I will log into my Raspberry Pi, and I will copy this command and run it over here instead. And I'll close down the connection, but we'll still have it running here. And we see that it runs on the PI host and in another directory. So that just works. And also it's probably good to know that even though now we have those 2 active sessions, we can only attach ourselves to sessions that are local to the current host which we run the shell in. So that's why we only see the local host session here when we try to attach. And finally there is the command metax compile or the function compile. It's actually utilized in a lot of packages, and for the daring user it's possible to unconditionally replace compile with Dtache using the following code. So basically you override compile with Dtache compile override. And I will illustrate that by calling a compile command which uses the function compile, and it runs the geeks build command here in the repository, and it finished successfully. If I evaluate this code and use the same key binding to run it, we now see it didn't pop up here, instead it ran with Dtache. And due to the nature of geeks being able to hash everything, it will detect that there are no changes, so it won't rerun anything. But now whenever I try to use compile, it will run with Dtache instead. So yeah, that's about it, and thanks for watching.